We're going to talk about some math today. Yes, I have my glasses on, so you might not recognize me. This is Mrs. Norman, everybody. It's me. It's me, Mrs. Norman. Okay, I'm just kidding. My contacts were bugging me, so I had to switch out. Okay, so today we are talking about this paper right here. You all should have had that in your packet. So we're looking back at some graphing today, and we're focusing on the length again. So we took a break off for that on Friday, and you did your St. Patrick's Day graphing paper. When we started talking about this, it was on Thursday. So my daughter's making faces at me while I do my video. Stop it, go away. So let's talk about this for a minute. Remember, we can find the distance of a line on a graph two different ways. We can count how far, right? I can count, and you can tell this is on graph paper, and I can count the units, squares or units that it's away. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So I could count that, or we can subtract. Now, if you're looking at a large scale graph and all you have are the points, you might not be able to count. So you have to be able to know the other way as well. So looking at this, they've given us the two different sets of coordinating or coordinate pairs, and we can find the length just with those, not even counting. So here we've got, it's hard for me to look at, so here we've got 2, 5, and 8, 5, okay? Now, remember we said we're going to find what's the same about these and find what's different. First, let's find what's the same. They each have a 5 in their pair, right? Which is telling us that that is, and now it's the second number that's listed, so that's the y, okay? Here's our y line right here. It's the vertical line, and we went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on our y line. And it's telling us that this line is on the 5 of our y-axis, okay? So the 5s are the same, and right now we're going to ignore those. We already know, okay, good, it's on the same line, great. The two numbers that we are going to use are the numbers that are different, okay? So on here we've got an 8 and a 2. And all we need to do to find the distance of this line is subtract the smaller number from the larger number. So 8 minus 2 is 6. So the length of our line is 6 units. That's what we counted, so we know that we're right. Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video and fill in this rectangle right here that's asking you to explain how you can subtract, how you use subtraction, or how subtraction can be used to find the line segment of AB. And that's how we write a line segment. These points are labeled A and B, and it makes the line in between, and this little line over the A and B right there is how we refer to that as the line AB. Okay, so you're pausing the video, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so here we go. Now let's talk about this side right here, okay? This is kind of like a number 2. We've got our graph up here, and we have some blank coordinate pairs here that we need to fill in. It says fill in the blanks for the x, y coordinates for point D, here's point D, and point C. And then we need to find out how long that line segment is. How long is this line segment? Okay, so here we've got point C. We'll just do a little bit of a review. Point C is 1, 2, 3 over on the x-axis. And remember, we always start on the x-axis, which is our horizontal line. So we go over first. So we go over 3 and up 7, right? It's on that 7 line on our y-axis. So our x, I'm changing this just a little bit to help us out here. Our x is 3, and our y is 7. Please fill those in. Our x, we go over 3, our x is 3, and we go up 7, our y is 7. Fill those in, please. Okay, now I want you to do the same for D. And I'd like you to pause the video and try it out on your own, and then you can come back and we'll check to make sure that you're right. So press pause and fill in D. Okay, should we check and see how you did? All right, here's our D point right here. We went over 3 and up 1. So we should have 3 in our x. That's our first one, and 1 in our y. That's our second one. So 3, 1. Okay? Awesome. You guys are rocking. Now, let's take a look at this section right down here. It says use, oh, wait a second. We forgot to find the length. I apologize. We got to come back up to this part. We got to find the length of our line. Okay, so now remember we're looking at the ones that we filled in. Let me fill those in really quick. Where's my pencil? So that, look, I brought my canister from home. Not from home, from school. And I brought it home. Okay. Okay, so we said that C is 3, 7, and D is 3, 1, right? So that's what you got. There we go. Okay? Okay, so we're taking a look at those coordinates like that. We look at what's the same and what's different. Our 3's are the same, which is just telling us that it is, and they're in the X spot, which is telling us that the line is along the 3 on our x-axis, right? 1, 2, 3. The y's are the ones that are different, and we're going to use subtraction with our y's to determine the length. I could count it, but I'm not going to count it this time. I'm just going to subtract. I'm going to do 7 minus 1. 7 minus 1 is 6. So the length of our line must be 6. Now, 6 units. That's our label, right? Now, I can go back and double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is harder than you think, friends. But our line segment is 6 units long, counting and subtracting. So we found both ways. Okay, now let's scoot down to this one. Use subtraction to show the length of the line segment EF. Here's our line segment. I want you to try this one. Ooh, it says to show your work. So you better show your subtraction equation. I want you to try this one on your own. Pause the video and check back with me. All right, folks, so on our line, I'm sure that you found what was the same was our 4's, right? That are on the Y, it's telling us that the Y is our 4's, which means that our line is on the line of, or on this, I'm losing my train of thought here, friends. It is on the 4 on our Y-axis right here, so our line is horizontal. But it is also saying that, or what is different about these is this number right here, our X's. We've got an 8, a 2, and an 8. I'm doing this backwards, so I apologize. Hopefully it'll straighten out in your video at home. But when I look at it, it's almost like a mirror image. So thanks for bearing with me, and I'm pointing to weird stuff. Okay, so we've got our 2 and our 8. Whichever one is the smaller number is the number that we're going to subtract. So we're going to start with the 8 because that's our higher number. 8 minus 2 is 6, right? Did you get 6? Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you should have shown 8 minus 2 equals 6, and our line segment is 6 units long. Okay? Good. All right, let's do this last little bit, and I'm going to have you do this one on your own. I think that you can do it. It talks about how both points are on the 2 line. How many squares below G is H? So again, you're finding the length, but you're just finding how many squares below G is H right here. It gives you an example of how to solve and what you're looking for. Okay, and it's also giving you a sample calculation of how you can figure these out. So you got 2 minus 2 is 0. That's the ones that we ignore. We don't have to do because they're the same, but then we subtract the ones that are different. Okay? All right, so that's our math for today. That's all we're talking about is those lengths of lines when we're doing our graphing. I had a couple people say that they didn't have a St. Patrick's Day graphing paper, and I'm so sorry. That day getting everything ready to send to you was kind of a crazy, chaotic mess, and I apologize if you didn't get one. I don't have any more right now to share. If it's okay with your parents, you could Google that or find some online. There are different graphing things that you can do. Please ask for permission first. But there should be some, and I believe that there are some that are free. So you could print some off, if it's okay with your parents, and practice graphing, okay? Remember the X is always first. That means you go over first, and then the Y comes second, and then you go up, and that's where you're going to put your point. And you can make some really cool pictures. In fact, if you do find any of those to print off and practice, post some pictures for us. Maybe I can open up a Flipgrid for that. And so if you do this, let me know, and I'll open up a Flipgrid so that you can show us a picture. You can color it and make it look really awesome. But there are some really cool things that you can do with this. When we do come back to school, I'll try to get some ready for fast finishers so that it's something that you can work on if you finish other work. And because I think graphing is totally fun and relaxing, and you can make some really cool pictures. So try that and let me know what you come up with. I'll do a little research too. If I find any, I'll try to post some for you, and then possibly you could print them off at home. If you don't have a printer, I am so sorry. Maybe one of your friends does, and they would be willing to print off another one for you. I don't even have a printer at home. Well, my printer doesn't jive with my Mac computer, so I don't know what we're going to do. All right, miss you guys. Talk to you soon. Have a good day.